Went to a Professor Peterson event a few days ago. I told him he was a pretty good wizard, a person who changes the world around them via verbal and semantic components, i.e. their words and actions. Well, the memes of destruction, which is a great username. That's really nerdy, but I approve.
Well, 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 Mr. the Plague, we meet again. It appears you have responded to my response video, thereby I am compelled to respond to your video. Alright.
Hello, everybody. It is I, Mr. the Plague. I see the memes of destruction has done a response video to explain himself. Well, let me make a few short observations, if I may. Oh no, Harpy, relax. It's okay, girl. It's okay.
Oh, so we're getting the familiars involved, are we? Alright then. Tommy, give me a hand. Let's do it.
I need drag power!
Say hello to my little friend, George.
I will name him George.
No, you're George. George, get out of the way. Get out of here. Nope. Dip. Thank you. Where were we?
Yes, memes. I did take notice of your video, as I always will. Let me ask you a few questions, if I may. You come from a standpoint, please explain to me if I'm wrong, that there are good, reasonable people on the other side, on the left as I place them. That they're reasonable people and that they can be talked to, and if you just talk to them you can find some kind of common ground. Are you really serious? When you are asked what common ground are you searching for, what is the common ground you think that both sides can seek? You come back with a flippant response of, well, we agree on turtles. Are you really serious then? Are you seriously engaging? Or are you just being a troll? I'm sure you can explain this viewpoint. It shouldn't take too much time or effort.
Who doesn't like turtles? Oh, and Mr. the Plague, if you would like some evidence for my hypothesis, this right here is what we refer to as a statistical distribution. It is referred to many things over the years, but over here what it does is it's trying to account for all the number of folks that may fall along a very broad spectrum. You could consider this likely for both left and right as well. So if we can actually agree on something, then we can actually move forward. If we can all agree on turtles, we've set the boundaries. And this is something I've actually been kind of wanting to use for a while. I refer to it as asymptotal analysis. So what the heck does that mean? What's an asymptote? So eventually, as you can see there, it continues to incline until it goes up basically at an infinite amount over infinitesimally small amounts over a smaller area. So if we can all agree on turtles, all I'm saying is we've set the bounds of the argument. We have a starting point. You may find it to be a silly starting point, but I consider it a commonality. Some may consider it an intersect, if you would. I also base that off of, there were some people that like turtles so much they also wanted to give me money, and I had to say, no, I'm not actually saving the turtles at this point, maybe at some point down the line, but I cannot accept your money. So all I'm saying is, if this is something that even the furthest on either end can agree on, then once we get into the vast middle here, this vast middle, we can probably agree on more things there. Oh, and I am a troll. Self-identified. Thank you very much. Hashtag noble troll.
Here's another question. If they were so reasonable on the left, why are their positions so radically unreasonable to begin with? Has that ever occurred to you?
Well, Mr. the Plague, like I have been saying for a while now here, it does appear to be a little bit of an escalation as I see, because, oh, what's this? Oh, looks like a federal judge blocks part of the new Missouri law that bans abortions after 8 weeks. I believe that's it's approximately 2 lunar cycles, about 2 months, typically less than. So yeah. I mean, it's not like what was going on in Missouri was like a result of anything else going on in the country. Oh, what's this? Oh. Now, this is an opinion from the Washington Post. Abortion extremism in New York and Virginia paved the way for Alabama and Georgia's laws. Well, I mean, at least somebody took notice of something that might actually be going on here, because I don't know. I'm sure it comes up once in a while, but I don't really remember this being such a national issue with all of a sudden all these states doing all this stuff. I mean, if this really was the top thing going on and this really was all that important, when this had been just coming up for years and years and years, we would have seen the exact same thing. Or is it just possible, Mr. the Plague, that people have a habit of trying to one-up each other? In this case, we're talking about one of the most sensitive issues that's within our society. And as my good friend MC has said, there are very difficult choices that we're going to have to make. We're going to have to go to very hard places. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary.
Now, I rail against the moderates, and there's a very good reason for it. As those of us who are conservative got pushed further and further back, we weren't being aggressive in our points of view, trying to push back. We've already attempted to be reasonable. It got nowhere with the left. And you moderates didn't engage.
So what you're saying is you were bullied politically and didn't really fight back. Here's the thing, though. We didn't engage. We should have. We were doing what was easy and not what was hard.
Now that it's come to this, even now, those supposed moderates, those supposed reasonable leftists, can't hold the line. You end up with silliness because the fear engendered by the left remains within them.
So I watched CNN and MSNBC for almost 3 days, and during those 3 days I began to think that the world was going to end. I was waiting for a mushroom cloud at any moment, as well as the president to walk up to a podium and issue Order 66. I mean, after I stopped watching it, I mean, most of those symptoms cleared up.
If you're going to lead, if you're going to be an example, then you've got to be an example completely. What am I referring to? A prime example are people like Jeff Holiday, so famed, even Tim Pool, although less so in this case. You've placed the backs of the conservatives against the wall. Instead, you keep trying to tell the conservatives, well, take a step back. Take a step back. How can you go back any further when your back's against the wall? And who is it that has been pushing society, has been driving all these wonderful social changes that have led to such wonderful things as shootings left and right? Oh, but there's always an excuse on the left. It's never their fault or their policies that are the problem. It's the fact that, if anything, their policies didn't go far enough. And you moderates didn't engage. Now we're at a point where you can't back the conservatives up anymore. And your pox on both houses commentary has fallen thin. Conservatives will no longer trust the moderates to act reasonably because they watched the moderates sit by as the left pushed more and more unreasonable policies, to which, at best, the moderates agreed with, or, just sat on the sidelines.
Mr. the Plague. Can I call you Mr. P? So here's the thing, Mr. P. Not everybody is like us. Not everybody is necessarily digital, dimensional travelers upon this internet. Some folks, they gotta work and raise families and stuff, so it's... All I'm saying is, we may be cut from slightly different pieces of cloth than just the average folks around us. I mean, I'm sure nobody's ever told you that.
Jeff Holiday, for example, is so afraid of handing a victory to the right. He has gone looking for, look at the far right, which he's already established in his own mind as a group of Nazis, ignoring or belying the fact that Nazis were never conservative to begin with. They had one point of commonality, and that was only nationalism. Isn't it funny how a single point of commonality then is pushed upon all conservatives as if, well, they're all Nazis. Now when you stand against the left, when you push it out there, you get hammered.
When we use the term not all, if we're going to use that moniker, we must consistently do that. I know not what dwells in another person's head nor heart, but I try to listen to at least what they identify as, because otherwise, I'd just be mislabeling them. I mean, only another person truly knows what they believe, and only by dialogue, discourse, banter, call it what you will, can we truly try to learn what's in another person's head and heart. And we gotta be straight. We gotta be straight up with the truth. And the truth is, at one of the freedom of speech events I went to last year, there was at least one individual among about 60 of us that, upon review, mentioned that they did identify more or less as a National Socialist. So that's the thing. The blade of truth cuts deeply both ways.
Now, I brought up several factors, Memes. You said that you were engaging with the individual. Don't you think if you just presented your argument this way, that it would be more effective? That belies the fact that the left are completely unreasonable, and what they're asking for is unreasonable to begin with. If you see a reasonable stance that the left is actually pushing, please feel free. The problem is, what they say they are doing and what they are actually doing are two separate things. And people in the middle are so easily duped. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all have a good day. And I will talk to you all later.
Mr. P, you're a genius. I see what you're saying here. What you're saying is people are so angry at either end, whether it's left or right, that all that anger is driving all the good folks in the center together. Oh, you're... It's a good thing I've been doing battle with such high-level internet people that like to yell at me, such as Cap and MC. They have helped prepare me for this, but Mr. P, I want to be Hokage. George, no! All right, I'll see you. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.